Hi, this is Quek Bin from the Singapore Association of the Visually Handicapped, and I'm here to demonstrate to you how a blind person can use a computer. Right, first of all, we have a normal laptop, we have a normal keyboard. The laptop is connected to a television screen, which is not usually the case. Right, the television screen is there for the sake of demonstration, and also for clients who are what we call low vision, as in they can still see something on the screen, just not very well. Right, the large TV screen is an option. The keyboard here is also not really necessary, but it helps for certain clients. Oops, sorry. Right, so the keyboard helps when for the sake of demonstration as well, and for certain clients who are used to a standard keyboard layout. Okay, of course. Okay, so a blind person doesn't really use the mouse, right? Because they can't really see the pointer, right? So it doesn't make much point to use the mouse. Okay, we use the keyboard to do most of the things that most people do on a computer with a mouse, right? So a blind person uses the keyboard by touch. They must memorize all the keys on the keyboard. They must know the positions of the different keys, not just the A to B, not just the ABCs or the 1, 2, 3s, but also all these keys here at the side which normal people don't really use. Okay, so this is why a USB keyboard or a standard keyboard would be helpful for people who can't see very well, because the positions of these keys here are always relatively constant for full-size keyboards. But for a laptop, the keys could be arranged in different ways on the side here. So for clients who have trouble getting used to this new layout, they may prefer to use this instead. Right. So we use normal hardware. Okay. So what is special is the software that we use. The software that we use is called screen readers, right? So close to what the name suggests. Once the software is installed, once the screen reader is installed, the computer will literally read out the screen to you. Right. So there are keys. Okay, first of all, there are keys on the keyboard which anybody can use with or without screen readers or any kind of special software, which most people may not be aware of. Like for example, this will open the start, right? This key on the keyboard will open the start menu, right? So once you open the start menu, the software will talk to you. Alright, so I'm aware that a lot of people will find the speech a little fast, so the speed of the speech can be adjusted. Slower. Right, so let's try that again.
Escape, leaving menus,
right,
start button to open, press enter.
So I press again the key.
Menu, search box edit, type text in this edit field or press up or down arrow to move through items.
Okay, so hopefully you'll be more able to understand the speech now. It's telling us that we are now in this box here where we do typing, and that you can either type into the box or use your up and down arrows on the keyboard to move through the items. So now I can press the down arrow.
Internet Explorer sub-menu, 1 of 11.
You can see where the highlight goes and it's reading the item on the menu now.
JAWS 13.0, 2 of Microsoft Word Starter 2010.
Right, so you don't have to wait for the software to stop speaking before moving on to the next item. So if this is the item you want, you press enter, you open it. Right, as you can see, how fast you are able to use the computer depends on many factors, one of which is obviously the speed at which the software talks. So for people who can get used to a faster speed, they'll be able to use the computer and work faster. So
enter, leaving menus.
Right, me being used to the speech, I'll use it at the faster speed. So now it's announcing to me that Microsoft Word has started. Then I can start typing. Right, so basically what happens is as you type on the keyboard, they'll report to you what you are typing. Right, and then once you press spacebar of the word, they'll try to pronounce the word. The software is also able to tell you the difference between capital letters and small letters. Right, so the capital letters are read with a higher pitch.
ROWN.
And if the word is spelled wrongly, like in this case, you can say that this word is being spelled wrongly. They will also pronounce the words differently. Right, so BB Brown. Right, so
BROWN, Brown, FOSRUNPS, Enter.
Right, so they will also read a whole line at one go if I press up arrow.
The quick round flash jumps over lazy bar.
I can make the software read word by word.
Quick, round, flash, round, quick.
I can highlight words.
Field selected, I selected.
I can also select word by word.
CK, round select, flash selected.
Okay,
OK.
go to the beginning of line, end of line, select everything.
Select the quick round flash jumps over lazy bar.
There's a key on the keyboard which is the same as right clicking.
Applications menu to move lines without arrow. Microsoft Word document text font and control text size and control 0. 40 enter Microsoft Word
So I'm
document.
able to change the font size. I can do some simple
Control
formatting.
Control I. Control B.
Right, if I accidentally delete,
Yeah.
I can put it back.
Button select the quick round flash jumps over lazy bar.
I can reverse what I've done.
Button.
Or if I change my mind, I can put it back in.
Control I.
Right, so all this can be done with the keyboard. And up to this point, I'm not using anything which is special. All this can be done on the keyboard with or without the software.
Microsoft Word dialog. We want to save changes we made document 1. Save button to activate press space bar plus S.
Right, so this box comes out and they read the box to you, and I can press N if I want to choose no, don't save. Right, so thanks to the software, a blind person is able to use the internet, in particular Facebook.
Menu search box edit type text Internet Explorer sub enter leave menus. Windows Internet Explorer. New tab page. Press enter for one close.
Alright, so pressing this command on the keyboard will take me to the place where we enter website addresses.
OK. Menu bar 5 to navigate press enter right arrow.
Oops, that's right.
OK. New menu bar press search using http://
Okay, so
Facebook.com/.
right, you notice each letter we type, now we get the feedback from the software. And now as I type part of the software, part of the website address, the rest of the website address gets filled in, and the software does read the rest of the website that is suggested. So if this is the website I want, I press enter.
Enter. Welcome to Facebook separator. Page has no map bar. Welcome to Facebook and no one link back Facebook.
Right, so this version that I'm using is the mobile phone version of Facebook. In other words, it is the version of Facebook that you will see if you were using a mobile phone to access Facebook. The software is able to access the ordinary, what we call the full version of Facebook. However, the mobile phone version of Facebook is easier for the software to handle. It is less cluttered and so easier to read for the user as well, which is why blind people usually are advised to use this version of Facebook. Right, to navigate any web page in general, the most basic command is to press the up or down arrow keys. Right, so like right now, I'll press the down arrow key. Right, so as you press down arrow, they'll move from left to right, from the top row all the way to the bottom. So this can get really tedious if there are many things on the website, which is why again the mobile phone version of Facebook is more ideal because there are less things to navigate through. Right, so at this point here, it does read email or phone number. Right, if I down one more time, and the pop sound tells me I'm inside a box where I can do some typing and I'm ready to type. Right, and so okay, and they will protect your password for you as well. So like I was saying, if you press the down arrow, you move from top of the page to the bottom page, and you move from left to right, item by item. It may not be line by line, it may not be word by word, but it depends on how the page is structured. So right, so we're here now. Then you see the focus moving across. Right, so this is going to take a long time. So what happens is they have designed this feature in the software where if I were to type, let's say I type letter F now, it will jump to this place here. Edit, it says edit. This box is called an edit box, which is why if I press F, it jumps here. Right, if I were to press F, I'm now at the share button. But if I were to press F one more time, I'll skip past all of these things. And now I'm here. Right, so there are other letters on the keyboard which you can press, and they'll jump to different items on the web page, depending on what is available on the web page. So if you are familiar with the web page, if you know what to look for, and you don't want to access a certain part of the web page, you can press a combination of letters or the same letter in a certain way, so that you will jump in the fastest possible way to the place where you want. Of course, this will depend on your being familiar with the web page and knowing what you can use. Right, so I press enter, I can also enter this box here. I hear the pop sound which tells me I'm in the mode where I can do typing. Right, so as you type each letter, they read the letter to you. After you press the spacebar, they'll read out the word to you. And there's this command where I can proofread what I have typed. Right, so this is correct. I press enter. Okay, so we have this additional design in the software which helps me again to speed up the speed at which I browse through the web page. Right, so this shows me a list of all the links on the web page, and I can jump to the link I want if I know what is the name of the link by pressing the first letter of the name of the link. So for example, I press S. Okay, so in this case, it is a bit unusual in the sense that we have two links which have exactly the same name, Singapore Association of the Visually Handicapped. Right, so for a blind user, this could be a bit tricky. But from experience, because I've used this place before, I know that this is the second link with the one I want. So I press enter, it will behave as if I were to aim at the picture now. If I were to press enter now, it will behave as if I click on that second link. So take a look. Right, so now we are at this page. This is the Singapore Association of the Visually Handicapped community page. Right, so hope you like us as well. We're always trying to promote this page so that more people will know about us. So if you're able to, we'll have to ask you to do a little bit of typing, the full name of our association, Singapore Association of the Visually Handicapped. So what we paste on this web page, what we post on this web page are announcements of upcoming events, pictures of of past events, right, and the participants in the events, and also now and then we will share links to articles, to videos, and news and information which may be of interest and relevance to the blind. Right, so this is what you can see here. Right. So the moment you load the page, as you may have noticed just now, the moment you load the page, they start reading from the top to the bottom. So there is this command here as well. In addition, like right now, I can still press a command and it will start reading from where I left off. Right, so what you just heard is it was reading from where it was all the way, and if I hadn't done anything to stop it, it would have read all the way to the bottom of the page. Right, so there are all these commands which you can use for the software. And this command will close the web page. Alright, so there are two kinds of assistive software. One kind is called screen readers, where the computer talks to you. The other is what we call magnification software. Right, so right now we have this. Right, this is JAWS. This is one brand of screen readers. Okay, I'm going to turn this off now. Right, so now the software is turned off. So this is a normal computer, right? Then I'm going to turn off this one kind of magnification software which I have installed on this computer. Right, I'm using a keyboard to turn it on.
Magic screen magnification is ready. Magic dash default magnification button enabled.
Right, so Magic is the name of the software. Okay, you can use your mouse to do it. You can double click on the icon on the desktop which says Magic. Right, but I prefer to do things using the keyboard. Right, so this is the magnification software. So obviously, as you can see from the screen, the image is seriously enlarged. So only a small part of the screen is visible. Of course, an enlarged version of a small part of the screen. If you want to look at the rest of the screen, you can use the mouse to move. Right?
Canon.
And it has a built-in voice feature for this particular variety of that software. So you can use your mouse to do your reading for you.
Clear.5 media.
Right, if you notice the mouse arrow, what we call the mouse pointer, as it moves over some text, it will read the text out to you.
JAWS 13.0.
Right, so this is a good option for people who sometimes still cannot see even at this level of magnification. Right, so move up, move down. So just use the mouse to do everything. Right, you can use, right, as you look, this is the control panel for the software. You can click on this up and down arrow buttons to increase and decrease magnification level. But again, I prefer to do this using the keyboard, which is possible. So if the camera will zoom in on the keyboard, this is what happens. I press this key and I press this key here, which is the plus key. So the caps lock and the plus. Now if you look at the keyboard screen.
3x, 4x, 5x.
Okay, back to the keyboard. This will reduce magnification. So caps lock plus the minus key on the what we call the number pad. So back to the screen.
4x,
Right.
3x, 2x, 1.9x, 1.8x,
And you hear the voice announcing the magnification level. So
1.92x.
okay, I can also use the keyboard to move the screen. Right. So if I press the caps lock plus the up and down arrows, so caps lock down, and you will see the screen moving all the way down, all the way up. This caps lock up arrow, caps lock right, caps lock left. Okay, and if you will notice, if for example like myself, I have trouble locating the mouse even at this level of magnification, right? Which is why I don't really like using the mouse to click on the buttons here. I prefer to use the keyboard to do that. Right? If you have trouble looking for the mouse but you still need to see the mouse, there is this feature which you may have noticed just now. If I hold on to the caps lock key, you will see this thing here, right? Across. So where the horizontal line and the vertical line meets is where the arrow is. So this is really helpful for me when I want to look for my arrows. Okay, there are different ways of setting this cross. I can set it so that I don't have to touch anything and the cross will always be there. I can set it so that it's only there when the arrow is moving, the pointer. Or I can set it so that the cross is there only when the mouse is not moving. Okay, so there are all these kinds of options. And apart from the cross, I can choose different shapes, a circle, a rectangle, square. Right, so there are different options to set so that you can locate your mouse more easily for someone who has trouble doing that. And there's this other feature here which I usually will show people, and this is called color inversion.
Color enhancements enabled.
Okay, for this software they call it color enhancement. What happens is when I press a command on the keyboard, or you can press this rainbow icon on the control panel, you will change the color scheme on the screen. Right? Again, it requires some adjustment if you don't like the ones that they have already provided, but for me this is fine here.
Color enhancements disabled.
Right, so you can turn it on and off. So for example, some people prefer a black background with white words. So when, let's say you open a Microsoft Word, so the Microsoft Word will be a white background with black words. So if for people who do not like that kind of a color scheme, they can turn on color enhancement and the Microsoft Word will change from white background, black words to black background, white words. So let's show you that.
Menu, Internet Explorer submenu.
Okay, so you notice when I open my start menu, the screen actually jumps automatically to the part of the screen where what the way we say is where our focus is. So for example, here's the highlight. If I press up arrow,
Search box edit.
right? So the highlight is now here, and the screen jumps accordingly, right? So
Internet Explorer submenu.
right, there's just a side remark.
JAWS Microsoft Word starter enter.
Right, so enter.
Minimize button. Document 1-mic.
Right, so this is now
TAS.SACE. Enter. This is a test.
right. So now for people who do not like this scheme,
Color enhancements enabled.
right. So now the background is black and the words are white. Right, so you can keep on turning this on and off. Again, why I like using the keyboard is because it's easier for me. I don't have to bring up the control panel to click on the button. Right, so when you don't want it, you can turn it
Color
off,
enhancements disabled.
and when you want, you can turn it
Color
on.
enhancements enabled.
Okay, so now we get to show you how a blind person can use the touchscreen technology. So what I have here is an iPad. Of course, the cover doesn't come with the iPad. I bought that separately. Right, but what I'm going to demonstrate to you now can be found in all iPads and in all iPhones from version 3GS onwards, which essentially means all iPhones on the market, I suppose. Right, so
Manifesto.
okay, this thing
Tap to open.
is not an app. It's something in the settings. It's called VoiceOver. So you don't have to download the app. You don't need to buy it. It's built into all iPads and iPhone from 3GS onwards. Okay, you just have to go to settings to turn it on. It's called VoiceOver. So once you turn on VoiceOver, the touchscreen no longer works the way usual people are used to. Right? So if I were to touch something here,
Manifesto.
right?
Tap to open.
So instead of opening it, they just read out the name of the icon to you. Right?
Our third eye.
Right? So
Double tap paperless. New. Dot. Safari.
okay,
Double tap to
so
open.
If you want to open it, you double tap. Okay, you don't have to double tap exactly on the item itself. You can double tap anywhere on the screen.
Safari. Back. Dim. Button.
Right, so as I touch each part of the screen,
Close tab 4. iCloud. Button. Address. 41%. Back. Button.
right? So,
Back. Button. Bookmarks. Button.
okay, I don't have to touch. I can flick.
iCloud. Button. Utilities. Address. Reload. Button. Search.
So what
Search.
happens is it's moving item by item across. So as I keep flicking,
Close tab 4. Selected. M1 prepaid data card. Live TV. Channel News Asia. Mobians. Tab.
okay, as I flick
Double tap and hold.
one
Then
time,
double
it
tap
moves
to
forward by one item until the end of one row, then go to the next item. Perhaps it's more obvious if I go back to the home screen.
Safari. Stop. Messages. Home.
Right,
Calendar.
so-
Calendar. Tuesday, August 6th.
So this is the calendar. If I
Double tap
flick,
to open. Reminders. Notes. Maps. Game Center.
right, so it moves
Double tap to
from
open.
left to right. At the end of the first row, it goes on the next row.
Clock. Newsstand folder. FaceTime. Camera.
Okay, so it doesn't matter which part of the screen you use.
Photo booth. Photos. Videos. Music. iTunes.
They'll move in the same direction from where we left off. So it doesn't depend on which part of the screen, as long as you flick from left to right. And this is backwards.
Music. Videos. Photos. Photo booth. Camera. FaceTime.
I can also make it read everything so that I don't have to keep flicking.
FaceTime. Camera. Photo booth. Photos. Videos. Music. iTunes. Apple add-on folder. 4
Okay,
apps.
stop it. Right, so like I was saying,
Contacts. Skype. Mobile OCR. SBS Transit. Page 1 of 9. Stop. Safari.
alright, so Safari is down
Double
here.
tap to open.
So I had to flick all the way to Safari. So I don't have to touch the Safari exactly, I just double tap anywhere on the screen.
Safari. Skip to main content. Link.
Right,
Unpronounceable. Link.
I can adjust certain things here. Like for example, this thing is what we call rotor gesture.
Lines. Speech rate.
Okay, I can adjust how fast it speaks.
65%, 60%, 55%, 50%, 45, 40%, 35, 30%.
Right, so
Unpronounceable. Link. Unpronounceable. Skip to main content.
okay, so
Slack. Back. Button. Forward. Button. Bookmarks. Button. iCloud. Button. Utilities. Button.
right, I can also
Containers. Headings.
right. So you notice this is
Zero
Chinese.
headings.
So the voice is unable to read Chinese here.
Story. To unpronounceable.
So this is
Link.
unpronounceable.
Links. Form control. Buttons. Zoom. Language.
So now I can change language.
Link.
So the voiceover is capable of speaking different languages.
British English.
Okay, first of all, different accents of English.
Australian English. Bahasa Melayu.
Okay, it's also able to speak Malay,
Bahasa Indonesia.
Indonesian,
中文、廣東話、
Cantonese,
溫和買賣的利益、中文、中國、
okay, mainland Chinese,
中文台中国实体书店
okay,
转型。
Taiwanese Chinese. Right, so now I can read the Chinese.
Story.
二，
Story.
亚马逊创办人接掌华盛顿邮报全球首个人造牛肉汉堡包。
Link.
Okay.
Default.
British English.
Australian English.
British.
Default language. U. Character. Link.
Right, so okay, how do you scroll from page to page?
Tuesday, August 6th.
Okay, if one finger is
Double tap to open.
used for moving through a screen, right? If you want to move from a screen from a page to another page, you use 3 fingers.
Page 2 of 9. Drop page 3 of 9. Page 2 of 9. Dropbox.
Right?
Double
Then
tap to open.
another thing I always like to show people is this.
Screen curtain on.
Okay, I can turn off the screen and then I can continue using it.
File App Pro. OCR folder. Find My Way folder.
So this
7 apps.
gives a blind person
Double tap to open.
great privacy. I can plug in a set of earphones and nobody will be able to peek over my shoulder and look at what I'm doing. Right?
Clock. Find My OCR folder. 5 apps. Screen curtain off.
Okay, so this is additional information I show people, which is which I don't always show, right? So
Doc. Safari. Mail. Messages. App Store. Settings.
okay, so to show you how to
Double
turn it
tap to
on,
open.
so I open settings.
Settings.
So under general,
Selected. General.
okay, they tell me the general is already selected. So here,
Usage. Button.
so this is 3 fingers for scrolling up and down as well.
Rows 7 to 20 of 20.
Okay,
Keyboard. But international. Accessibility.
so it's
Button.
under accessibility. So you go to settings, general, accessibility,
Settings. Vision.
and this is
Settings.
voiceover. So voiceover is the thing that you have to turn on to speak. But in addition, there's this extra feature at the bottom here.
Guided access. Physical and assistive type. Home click. Speak. Triple click. Heading. Triple click home.
This thing
Voiceover.
called triple
Button.
click home.
Settings. Triple click the home
Right.
button for. Heading.
So the thing is, once voiceover is turned on, the screen works differently. So some people I know who have tried to turn on voiceover aren't able to turn it off after they turn it on because of course the screen works differently. Right, so this is important because it gives you a way out if you're stuck, if you don't know how to use the voiceover. So you choose, right, while the iPad or iPhone is still in the normal mode, you choose your settings, general, accessibility. Then instead of choosing the voiceover, you choose triple click home. And you choose this item here called voiceover. Okay, so now it's selected. So once this item is selected, you can use the home button to turn on and off voiceover. So now if I press the button 3 times,
Voiceover off.
now it works normally, right? You see here. And if I want to use it again, I can press the home button 3 times.
Voiceover on.
And now it works
Capital S.
the voiceover way.
C.
Right? So this is important for those who are adventurous, who are interested to try. Right? So to save you from a terrible fate if you forget what to do to use a voiceover, you should set this before you go on your adventure. Alright, so in addition to the voiceover settings, there is a feature built in for those who still want to use their eyes, meaning the low vision cases. Right, so again, settings.
App Store. 9 settings.
Alright, so settings, open
Double
it.
tap to settings.
So again,
Maps. FaceTime. Remote notes. Mail. iCloud. Privacy. Picture frame.
Okay.
Notifications. Selected. General.
right, again,
button.
general.
Auto lock. 2 minutes. Button. Roads International. Accessibility. Button.
Right, so accessibility.
Settings. Vision.
Right,
Heading.
the thing for low vision users is called zoom.
Invert colors. Large text. Zoom. Off. Button.
Right, so it's off now.
Settings. Zoom. Off.
Okay,
On.
so once it's turned on, you can see the screen is bigger. Again, the zoom is controlled by special gestures. Essentially what happens is, if I use 3 fingers, if I tap 2 times on the screen, I'll turn zoom on and off. Right, so zoom is off. Zoom is on. If I want the zoom to increase, so 3 fingers, double tap and hold. So tap 2 times, the second time I stay on the screen. And if I push the 3 fingers up, I'll increase the zoom level. If I push it down, right, again, not letting my fingers free from the screen, right, so this will reduce the zoom, this will increase the zoom. Okay, it doesn't have to be this arrangement, I can do it this way. Okay, you notice? Okay, to move the screen around, right, after all, you're not seeing the whole screen anymore. I take 3 fingers again, but this time I drag the screen with 3 fingers. Right, so you see the zoom here. So 2 fingers, 3 fingers, zoom in, zoom out. It doesn't matter the orientation as long as you have 3 fingers on the screen. Turn off. Turn on. Okay. This zoom feature is compatible with the voiceover feature.
Brightness and wallpaper.
Right,
Button.
so it's still able to read as you.
Picture frame. Privacy. Button.
Okay. It does affect the voiceover in a small number of areas. Okay, but otherwise it's compatible. Only for this latest version of what we call the iOS, the operating system. Right. Essentially, you know, like computers that have Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7, if you recognize the terms. Right, so for iPhones and iPads, they have what we call iOS. Right, this current version is iOS 6. Right, for versions iOS 5 and older, if I'm not wrong, the zoom is not compatible with voiceover. So you can either turn one on or the other, but not both. Okay, so this iOS 6 is an improvement for people who want to see and yet need some help with the voiceover. Alright, so that's all for the demonstration. It's not everything, but hopefully it will be enough to give you an idea of how the blind can use existing technology